This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to another episode of Geek Smack, episode number 261. We're going to talk about internet sales tax, how it passed Congress, where it goes from here, what you might need to worry about. You should always pay your sales tax anyway. We're also going to talk about 3D printing cubes. We're going to talk about Photoshop getting out of CS and going to CC. We're going to do that. We've got a whole bunch more. Even Bill Gates talking about how iPads are frustrating. I don't know. We're brought to you today by our friends over at juststand.org. We're also brought to you by Roku, The Day in Tech History, and of course Wirecast. So let's get today's Geek Smack smacking. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to another episode of Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you. As we always do, how you doing? If this is the first time that you've come to the show, thank you very much for showing up. We do this every single Tuesday for a Wednesday consumption on the video end over and the Geek Smack video end, and then of course the audio end, which you can get all this stuff on iTunes. You can get the audio version on Stitcher, and of course you can consume via your Roku. You can consume via your Mac, your PC, your tablet, your smartphone, and even by Smoke Signal. Yes, Geek Smack is now in Smoke Signal. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we light the fire. We didn't start that fire, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. We've got a lot of great Geek Smack tech news, geek news, and we're going to get it to you. Of course, go over to Geekazine.com. Think magazine, put in a geek. You got Geekazine. Go there and check that all out. And, of course, you can subscribe. Go to this toolbar. Just hit the subscribe button. You can subscribe to your favorite reader. And, of course, put it into your news, put it into your papers, put it into your Twitter feed, and put it into your purse because it's a great theft deterrent. I don't know. Anyway, thanks a lot for coming to the show. Hey, it's been a very quiet week, and I'm really happy. Like I said, I was supposed to be out at New York last week. Didn't happen, and I kind of had the chance to decompress because it's been a very long month here. So I'm kind of glad, and just kind of sat back, caught up on some TV shows, got some new stuff going, and, of course, started my healthy campaign for the month of May. It's called 10,000 Steps a Day a Month, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here because our first sponsor, juststand.org, is a part of that. So I'll talk about that in a few minutes here. So far, so good. I did, this is the 6th day. I haven't done my 10,000 steps yet. Usually I do it like 7 o'clock in the morning because it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually do 10,000 steps. So I'm going to do this after the podcast. I figured do the podcast first and then turn around and do that, and go from there. So that's going to be that. And of course, I'm doing the show. So we'll see what happens, and I'll keep you abreast of the situation. So far, like I said, this is day 7, so I'll be on 70,000 steps this month. Pretty cool. I just want to let you know, hey, Geekazine has now got a new part of Geekazine. Actually, 2 parts of Geekazine. It's been something I've been thinking about for a while now. I got away from doing news stories on Geekazine and doing more video. Of course, iPad 365, Geekazine special media feed, and, of course, the Geek Smack. And it really I was losing the idea of what Geekazine was first about. And we even talked about it last night. I was on a show called Books and Beer, excuse me. Friend Evo Tero asked me to be on the show, so I came on. It was a 15-minute hangout. And, of course, I'm going to get the link here later today, so I'll send that out to you guys as we go. But the one thing that I was thinking about was, what is Geekazine really about? Is it about all these videos, or are we going to put news into it? So I decided, and I did this earlier in the week, I created news.geekazine.com. And of course, I'm going to be mixing some of those links in here, so you'll see those links as you go. I also created deals.geekazine.com for all the deals that I get that I can convey to you guys. You can go over there and check that all out. And of course, if you follow on my Facebook feed, if you follow on the Google Plus Geekazine, if you follow on Twitter, you'll see all these links pop up as we go. All right, let's get into your Geek Smack or your Tech Smack for this week, because we got a lot to talk about, including this internet sales tax. Are you going to start paying sales tax on your items that you buy on the internet? Not just yet, and that's what we're going to talk about. But let's get into your Tech Smack for this week. And like I said, it is brought to you by our friends over at juststand.org, where you can get healthier by simply standing. You have sitting disease. Sitting disease means you wake up in the morning. The only time you stand is to shower, shave, brush your teeth, maybe do the dishes, and get up and go from your work chair to the lunchroom. But a lot of us sit, and we sit for long periods of time, and it's not good for our bodies. We have higher blood pressure because of it. We have our bodies don't work as well as if they actually are in some sort of motion. Standing can, for only a couple hours a day, can help revitalize your body, get your blood flowing a little bit better, so your blood pressure goes down, so you don't have to take the medications for sugars or thinners or anything like that, and your body can be healthier. Check this out. I've got the Work Fit desk here, and I've showed this to you before. This is what replaced the Geek Bar. It's a nice desk. It's about 3.5, 4 feet in length, and of course it lowers and raises, so I can lower it down, and I can sit down in a regular chair, and of course I could do this show without you seeing a single piece of my desk, or I can raise it all the way up to here, so I can kind of lean like this and enjoy and talk to you guys in a very one-on-one situation. And that's what I like about this whole desk. And we're going to bring it back down to a good level here, where you can see the desk and everything is in the way. There we go. Right there. Nice click. And of course, there's no electronics involved. You just simply pull the handle, lift up or lower. So you're getting an upper body workout when you do that as well. And of course, standing is going to help you with your blood flow, your circulation. If you have any problems with your feet, try standing for a couple hours. Now we have the Ergotron, the WorkFit D here desk. We've got the monitor on a monitor swivel arm over here, and then of course I've got the mat down here, so I'm a little bit more comfortable when I stand. So check it all out. It's over at juststand.org. Excuse me, juststand.org. Check it all out. It's the WorkFit desk, and get yourself fit by just standing a little bit each day. And of course, I'm also talking about the 10,000 steps. I've been walking 10,000 steps and figuring out the different locations. So I'll go, like for instance, let's say, well, today I'm going to actually go to I have one of four grocery stores now. There's a new one actually opening up next week. One of 4 grocery stores I can go to. And I'm going to go to the grocery stores over here, actually 5 now, because there is a Target over there as well. And so I'm going to walk over there and back, and that's going to be about 7,000 steps in itself. And it's a good walk, and I can grab some groceries, get back here, have some lunch, and finish processing the show. Hopefully by time the show will be all processed and ready to upload for you to watch or listen to. So anyway, let's get into your Tech Smack for this week. Oops, we're going to start over. I told you about news.geekazine.com. Here it is right here, news.geekazine.com. And we're going to start with the first article here. Adobe new subscriptions for CS. CS is gone. Creative Suite is gone. Creative Cloud is here. Embrace the cloud. What does this mean? Well, this means that there's going to be no CS7. CS6 will be the last CS standalone software that you can buy. So if you're not into buying a cloud-based subscription model, then go get CS6. This also means that you'll get, with the CC version, you will actually get updates right then and there. It'll push it right down and it'll update your software, and you'll never have to worry about having an old version again. For years, I had CS2 Photoshop, and then I got a great deal on CS 5.5, and I upgraded to that. I might get up to 6, but to me, I don't see the value in the subscription, the cloud model. Here's how it works. If you're buying it outright, if you've never had a copy before, it's going to be $50 a month, which equals about $600 a year. Now, for the actual Creative Suite, which was something around $1,200 anyway, that's about 2 years. So it kind of makes sense on there. Now, if you're upgrading CS3 or later, the price is only $29.99 a month. And that's of course that comes out to about $700 for 2 years as well. So that's that. And then of course there's teacher edition, student edition, which is like $19.99 or about $450 to $500 every other year. So that's even more tolerable. And from what I don't know if you get every single thing on the suite, if you get Photoshop, if you get Illustrator, if you get them all, but like I said, they'll be the most updated versions, and they'll come with extras. So for me, I use Photoshop, and I'm working on After Effects, and I'm working on Premiere Pro, and I use the audio, which the file's escaping me right now. But the bottom line is that I can get the most updated versions if I do the cloud model. Is it worth it? Well, like I said, if you think about it, you're paying $1,200 for a copy as opposed to $1,200 for 2 years. And of course, it also comes with something like 5 gigabytes of cloud service now, or 20 gigabytes of cloud service, something like that. Now, I'm thinking to myself, 20 gigabytes of cloud service, if you're doing video, that's nothing. I can blow through that in an hour. So I'm not too worried about the cloud service. And of course, plans can go with different sizes as you go along. And then of course you have enterprise models, so on and so forth. So is this great for an enterprise? You know, somebody that's actually doing video, lots of video, and they got money invested, they get return on investment? Yes. Is this something for somebody like me who's got one or two copies sitting on one or two computers trying to make ends meet? I don't know. I mean, the prices still value up, but I always wait for those deals, because if I can't get a deal on my software, $1,200, that's a big chunk of cash for me to actually come up with. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. A lot of people have been saying that they do like this, and then there's been a lot of people that saying that they don't like this idea. What do you think on it? Are you going to get Adobe CC? Or are you going to get the latest CS6 and then just kind of nurse that as much as possible? Let me know. You can Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. And 608-205-4378 is the phone number. You got to remember, if there's any critical updates in CS6, Adobe has to fix those critical updates. So they can't just kind of throw it out the window and say, you're on your own. But they won't update it. So if there's some new video codec that comes out, you won't get it for CS6. All right, let's move on from there. I spent a little bit too much time on that, but a lot of people have been asking about that, and it's very important that we talk, that you understand where you are on that. If you're really concerned about it, if you've already got CS3 or above, you can get the update for a pretty low price. And of course, $19.99 for student edition. Not too bad. So, all right, we're going over to cbc.ca. Of course, the first 3D printed gun actually shot real bullets. I am not for this. Not because of the gun idea, but more of the fact that you put this into a 3D printer. 3D printer prints it out. You got to shape the gun and make sure that it works properly. Otherwise, the gun will backfire. Otherwise, the gun will explode. That's the problem I have with 3D printed guns. Is if you make, and we're talking about home security, we're not even getting to full gun rights and stuff like that. But what I am saying is, think about it. You print out a 3D printed gun, there is a lot of problems that could happen. And the fact that somebody fired a gun with a real bullet, hey, that's all well and good. But you get somebody that's deciding to do it as a science project, you know, maybe a high schooler saying, hey, I got a 3D model printer, I can get this stuff from this group, and I can make my own gun. puts a real bullet in, but they didn't have the right heat plastic in there, or they use some sort of generic heat plastic, and next thing you know, it's a compromised gun. They go and shoot it, and boom, they blow their face off. That's the problem I have with the 3D printed gun. So it's not about gun rights. It's not about gun control. It's about creating a product outside of an area that can actually regulate it and make sure that there's standards involved that say if this thing does not go to these specifications, you cannot ship this item out. That's where I come from here. So, but if you want to read more on that, cbc.ca. We got the link in, of course, the show notes. We're going to go from there. We're going to go over to Engadget.com. Samsung has acquired a company called Movil, M-O-V-L. And basically what they are is they do multi-screen TV efforts. So basically if your phone, you want to push your video over to a TV, you do a swipe technology on these Samsung phones. And of course, if the TV has the technology in there, it'll push the video straight up there. So that's what mobile is all about, and that's what Samsung wanted. So they figure, well, we might as well just incorporate it in the Galaxy S4. We might as well just buy the company and have the technology. And I think that's a great move for Samsung with this swipe it technology. So congratulations to Mobile for the acquisition. And Samsung, a lot of people are really looking into Samsung phones. I know Robert Scoble switched to Android phone. Chris Pirillo just talked about how he switched from iPhone over to a Samsung. Maybe it's time to actually take a look at these phones and see if I do the switch. I've had an Android phone, so I know what they can do. I just don't know if it's for me. So what do you think? Do you like Samsung phones? Let me know. Do you use one? Do you can't live without it? Let me know. Twitter me over, Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. Let's move on from here. The Jodi Arias trial, depending on when you watch or listen to this, the Jodi Arias trial may be over, may not be over. Jury's still in deliberation. But there are two things that Jodi Arias gets to do. One is she got to tweet, and two is she apparently created a T-shirt that she's selling to help with her trial, lawyers and stuff like that. She doesn't have Twitter directly, but apparently she's conveying it to friends who have her Twitter account and are tweeting for her. She only has like 18 friends. Two of them are celebrities. One is Kathy Griffin, the comedian, and the other one is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump apparently sent a tweet and said, just take a deal. So we'll see what happens. Deliberation's going to happen here. There's a lot more. We got the link over at christianpost.com. christianpost.com if you want to read up more on that. All right, let's move on from here. We're going over to zdnet.com. Bill Gates has made some vocal statements that I don't know if it's true. And he goes, a lot of iPad users are frustrated. Frustrated because of the fact that they can't use some of the software that they know to love and trust, like Word documents and Excel spreadsheets, which is not true because you can get into Google Drive and you can get a lot of that functionality. There's an iPad app that actually creates a virtual. You gotta be hooked up to the internet, but of course you can get into a virtual drive where you can use things like Microsoft Word document or Excel for a couple hours and get your documents done. Put it back into your Dropbox or your cloud or whatever, and then go from there. But apparently, he was speaking at CNBC. Co-founder, CEO, of course, former CEO of Microsoft, saying that the line between tablets and PCs are blurring, which is very, very true. Windows Surface is the best blur out of any PC tablet crossover that you can get. And I'm just waiting for them to take the fans out of Surface tablet to actually make it feel and work the best that it can. So he goes, if you have a Surface or Surface Pro, you have the portability of tablet, but the richness in terms of the keyboard of a Microsoft Office or on the PC, and that is true too. I mean, Surface is Surface whether it's on your PC or on your tablet. So I do like that idea of not having a multiple OS. I use my iPad. I have many options for the iPad, so I'm not exactly sure about if his statements are completely true. I haven't used Surface on I have Windows 8 on my desktop, but I don't have a Surface tablet, so I can't say for certain. But what do you think? If you've got an iPad out there and you've got a Surface, do you prefer your Surface over your iPad? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine, geekazine@gmail.com, or call me and we'll set up a time. Maybe we'll set up a Skype session so you can talk about it a little bit more. So check that out over at zdnet.com. Moving on over to washington.edu, there's a new device that's extracting human DNA. Now, we've been able to do that before, but this machine apparently can do it faster, better. University of Washington engineers at Nanofacture in Bellevue, Washington, created a device that can extract human DNA from fluid samples, simpler, more efficient, environmentally friendly way. So I don't know if this is something that, sits on the convenience store counter next to the slushies to find out your DNA, so you don't have to touch anything. But it literally, if you look at this thing, it looks kind of like let's bring this up here. It looks kind of like a coffee machine right here. So it's possible. I don't know. Is this something that you might find on a corner store? Somebody opens up a check your DNA store, mom and pop organization where they have this on the counter, and within an hour you can find out some stuff about your DNA. We'll see what happens. I'm guessing this is not going to be a cheap device as it comes out here, but interesting read nonetheless. Go over to washington.edu to check that all out. Moving from there, we're going over to theverge.com. As LucasArts, we found out last month that LucasArts basically was closed because Disney didn't want that anymore. So by LucasArts, they smacked them out of there. And they gave it all to EA. And that's the story over on The Verge today. EA has taken over the LucasArts and, of course, the Star Wars games. And they will be exclusively developed on EA Electronic Arts. So pretty interesting stuff. Congratulations to EA. That means that they're going to probably be looking for a whole bunch more developers, gamers, and stuff like that. So if you're in the gaming area, if you're looking for a job, you might want to check that out. So there might be some cool jobs coming up in the future there. So go over to theverge.com to check that all out. All right. Got a couple more stories in part one. We'll get you into part two. And of course, we'll talk about sales tax, internet sales tax. We're going back over to the flagship website. Maybe. Looks like it didn't load. Let me reload it here. But basically, congratulations to U.S. Cellular. U.S. Cellular is the Midwest, and it's not loading for some reason. There it goes. It's actually, U.S. Cellular is based here in Madison, Wisconsin. And of course, they have now added iPhone to their carrier list. There we go. Let's bring that up here. U.S. Cellular has added the iPhone to the carrier list. It's announced that they also announced that 47 Sam's Clubs will have prepaid phones in sale in Iowa, Illinois, Maryland, Maine, Missouri. Now, that's just the Samsung phone. That is not the iPhone. The iPhone has not been officially announced. It's just been talked about in a board meeting, apparently. But they are part of the list of the secondary carriers to get it. Virgin Mobile, Cricket Wireless, Walmart Straight Talk, and T-Mobile have been added to that list. So we'll find out what type of iPhone. Maybe they won't come out until the iPhone 5S or 7, or it's the seventh generation of iPhone, but they're probably going to call it iPhone 5S. Crazy, isn't it? So if you want to read more on that, go over to news.geekazine.com. Let's go over to cnet.com here. There's a Taiwan university. Now, last year we talked about this Taiwan university because they sued Apple for some patent technology, I think on video codecs, and they've come and they've done it again. Apparently, the QuickTime and their FaceTime programs has compression algorithms in there that they own the patent to. So they have said, okay, Apple, we want you to settle. We want to get some cash from you. So they threw out a complaint in district courts, or Eastern District Court of Texas. Apple's video compression technology in the FaceTime and QuickTime violates their patents. So we'll see what happens from there. If you want to read more on that, go over to cnet.com. All right, last part of this. Oops, wrong button. Last part of the first part. We'll get you into the second part here. We're going to go over to likecool.com, and I will warn you that there's a clown on the front of the page. If you don't like clowns, you might want to just skip really quick. But this is really cool. Check this out. It's a VW Bug. It's an Imperial Walker, all in one. And let's see if I can make this smaller here. A little bit smaller. So basically what it is somebody took some Legos and they created a VW bus. And then they got the Legos for the Imperial Walker, and they said, hey, what would happen if we just put the Imperial Walker right onto the bus? And that's what happened. So it's a great way for your family to get out and vacation across the country, maybe. And of course, it's got the VW name on it. So would the next Star Wars movie use these VW Imperial Walkers? Yeah, I can see the commercials now. Hey, if you've got an old Imperial Walker, check it out. Here's the VW Bus Imperial Walker. Your whole family can come with you. Anyway, check that out. It's over at likecool.com. Once again, like I said, there is a clown on the front page. So if you got a fear of clowns, you might want to watch that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, that does it for the first part of Geek Smack. We're going to get you into the second part, and then, of course, we're going to talk about internet sales tax. Are you going to start paying now? You know, you have to pay your taxes, because the tax man come, take the pennies off your eyes. That's what the song says. So anyway, we'll be right back for part 2 of Geek Smack.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
And of course I hit the wrong button, but that's okay. Hey, you know, I roll the changes, roll with the punches. Left, right, left, right, up, down, and so on and so forth. Hey, I do a podcast called The Day in Tech History over at www.dayintechhistory.com. It's a full rundown of tech history every single day. Like, for instance, today, Tuesday, the Pentium 2 Slot 1 architecture was introduced to the public, and of course that was instead of a little chip with a bunch of pins on the bottom, they had a slot cartridge which you just plugged into the computer, and you had your processor. Easy to change out. The fans, the cooling system was easy to set up too. I don't know why they got rid of that. I thought it was great, but apparently there were some problems with it, so they decided to go back to the pin architecture. So that happened in this Day in Tech History. Check it out, the Day in Tech History podcast. There is an audio version. You can get it on iTunes. You can get it on Stitcher. Of course, we also have the download over at Podcast Box. You get the app, and of course, you can download it. If you're on Android, go over to the Kindle store, and you can download it from the Amazon Kindle store as well. It will soon be on Google Play and some other sources, other places to get the Day in Tech History. The Day in Tech History podcast, 365 days a year. We're on episode 1370, the longest daily podcast out there. There's only a couple other podcasts that do 365 days, and I know that they've kind of missed a couple days. This is the longest continual daily running podcast out there, period. So check it out, dayintechhistory.com, www.dayintechhistory.com. All right, let's move into your Geek Smack, Tech Smack for the tech news for today. Oops, I was right there and I moved back. Why did I do that? I do not know. Let's start over at, we'll start over here. The Onion was hacked. Yes, it really was hacked. This is kind of a story near and dear to my heart because the Onion also comes from Madison, Wisconsin, born and raised here. In fact, a lot of the editors, I've talked about this before, a lot of the editors that moved to New York when the Onion really went national were my editors on the college newspapers. And I actually did submit one article for the Onion. It didn't get approved, so I did not go in that direction. but I did have some ties to the Onion, and this is really cool. But on a sad, bad note, the Onion apparently got hacked, and a lot of people were going, "Yeah, so." So basically, they hacked the Onion's Facebook and the Onion Sports Twitter handle, and they said they were called the Syrian Electronic Army. And the first post that came from there, congrats, you hacked the place. Nobody believes stuff posted in anyways. So basically, they could have been a whole ruse and nobody would have cared. So Onion then acknowledged that they did get hacked, and they came out with an article saying that they changed the password to Onion Man 77, which should not get hacked at all. I wonder how many people have actually tried using Onion Man 77. So if you have, let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine and said, yeah, I used Onion Man 77 and I got in or I didn't get in or whatever. So check that out. That news article. It's just cool to see that, and it's this is a hack that's just too funny. It's just too funny to take seriously. But it is a serious issue. Somebody hacked into the Onion, so I'm glad they got that all figured out. All right, we talked about Arrow before. Let's talk about them again. They filed suit with CBS to set off, basically to CBS has been sending a lot of lawsuits their way. So they sent out a complaint saying, hey, we get the idea you don't like it. Let's try and figure this out before you start blowing our inboxes with even more lawsuits. Of course, Arrow is the web TV service that enables users to view CBS, ABC, Fox, NBC over the internet, and so basically you can watch TV instead of watching it over the air, which kind of sucks, especially on a rainy day. You can get it on your internet, and you don't have that pixelation, and that's why I can't wait for that to happen. It's actually supposed to be coming here in Madison, so once I get it, I will take a look at it and go from there. So last year, of course, the trial court denied CBS and the other broadcasters' request for a preliminary injunction against Arrow. Last month, the court affirmed that decision. So we're still on track to get Arrow here. I can't wait to see what happens, how it changes the game. Now, speaking of changing the game, this is interesting. That was on The Verge. We're moving from The Verge to Engadget. Time Warner. Oops, I thought I had this as the next article. Let me find it here really quick. I think I put this in between. And now you're taking your sweet time. There we go. Here, Time Warner CEO, cable CEO, basically Glenn Britt basically wants to create an Arrow type system for Time Warner. He sees the possibility, he sees the reality, and eventually it's going to happen. A company like Arrow is not going to be around for too long. They're actually probably going to get bought out by another company. I got some volume. I'm going to turn that off here. Hold on. So basically, they see that and they know that's going to happen. So why not embrace it now and be the first one to actually do it? And then probably eventually buy out Arrow and merge it into Time Warner so you can actually watch NBC, ABC, CBS live stream as it comes to the internet. Now, I always said the first person that can actually take the actual TV channel, and this is not Arrow, Arrow's not doing it this way, but if they could take their actual TV channel, pull it off TV and put it onto the internet without adding extra costs with getting the exact same ROI, will win. Because right now what happens is when I send out a stream signal and one person picks it up, that might be, and let's say I stream at 320 kilobits per second. One person picks that up at 320 kilobits. Two people will pick it up. They're both separate streams, so that's technically 640 kilobits per second. And then a third person picks it up, that's 960, so on and so forth. That model, so if you have thousands of people watching that same stream, it will be slow. It'll be horrible. That's why you have Ustream and Livestream as an intermediary, so you can have 1,000 people watching it and not get throttled on bandwidth. So that's the biggest thing that Arrow has to deal with right now in their model. The first company that can figure out how to do it so they can stream to 1,000 people and still stay at 320 kilobits per second, basically wins. So if you want to check out this, go over to WashingtonPost.com. Now we will go back to Engadget, and we'll talk about this. This is actually pretty cool. For those of you who don't want to get rid of your laptop, excuse me, my nose is itchy. Woo! For those of you, pardon me, for those of you who don't want to get rid of your laptop but want that 4G signal, there's a new product called Beam out there, AT&T Beam. It's a USB LTE modem with built-in LCD display. Comes out May 10th. It's $20, but there's going to be a 2-year commitment with that. So I'm guessing if you don't want to do the 2-year commitment, you're probably going to pay like $200 or $300 for it. I know Andy McCaskey just bought a Sprint MiFi type card for $325, but it's a pay-as-you-go. So if he doesn't need it next month, he can turn it off. He just doesn't use it at all, and they don't charge him for the month. So with this one, you need to have, of course, a laptop because it has to plug into a device and turn it into the Wi-Fi. But the cool thing about that is you have something like with my MacBook, there is a thing called internet sharing where I can then, or with a PC, you have the Connectify Me, where you could actually push that to an iPad or something like that, which is what I did in Las Vegas because paying $15 a night for internet per device is stupid. So anyway, if you want to read more on that, go over to Engadget.com. Let's move on from there. We're going over to the New York Times. And over at the New York Times, YouTube is said to have their planned subscription getting ready next week. Next week, they will offer for certain partners the ability to subscribe to certain videos. I don't know if it's like I'm guessing it's subscribe to videos in this certain area as opposed to all the videos. They could probably do an overall subscribe, but they definitely want to throw out free videos. I know if I get that option, I will have a subscribe area, which will probably be like 99 cents or something like that, or something pretty cheap. And then all the really good videos that I do will be over there, as opposed to, and then of course the other videos will be over in the regular area. I don't know if you can put in AdSense into that, if they'll still be advertising at the beginning or overlays, or if you can turn that all off. I know as a content creator, I can have all that advertising, but if I make people pay $1, $2 for that, and then turn around and then put advertising in it, that doesn't make any sense either. So we'll see what happens. It's all new for YouTube, so it's going to start happening next week. So we'll watch it, and of course I'll probably talk about it next week as well. Go over to NewYorkTimes.com for that article. A couple more here, and then we'll get you into the main subject about internet talks. And we're going over to ArsTechnica.com. If you don't know what Prenda is, some of you do, some of you don't. Prenda is this law that's been taken over by trolls. And basically the law is about the idea of if you monitor an IP and you find out that this IP is downloading some illegal internet porn, you could actually go as lawyers would go after there. There's a group in Chicago that's actually using this in a trolling sense to do that. So, and this U.S. District Court Judge Otis, he didn't like that. Here's the article right here on Ars Technica. He didn't like that at all. So he said, I'm going to make an example of you. So he created this 11-page document, basically saying that John Steele and Paul Hameiser, who are the main people of this Prenda thing, should be looked over for criminal investigation. Are they doing this legally? Are they making up things? Are they trying? What are they doing in this to actually send out these cease and desist type letters to people that have downloaded porn, copyrighted porn over their internet? I don't know. This is pretty interesting. And there's a lot more that goes beyond my personal knowledge of this. But for those of you who don't know, that's what Prenda is. It's a troll. It's basically a law that a lot of trolls have clasped onto, and they're trying to get rid of that. So if you want to read more on that, go over to ArsTechnica.com. If you've been attacked by Prenda, please let me know. You can tweet me over at Geekazine, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. All right, two more articles here, and we will get you on your way. And we'll talk about internet sales tax. First of all, Staples is starting to sell 3D printers. We talked about the 3D guns before. I don't think you can make a 3D gun on this printer. It's called the Cube 3D. It makes small form printing 3D items. So basically, something about the size of maybe my iPhone, maybe a little bit bigger. Knickknacks, simple desk objects, things like this heart or Boba Fett here or something like that. So you're not going to get big 3D models here. The prices start at $1,299. You get the cartridges, which are in multiple colors. Of course, you can get the cube in multiple colors, but you can also 3D print in a few different colors here. The size of it's 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 by 5, 16 colors total. $49.99 for the plastic feed cartridges, and they'll come in cartridge form, so you just plug it in and you'll thread it into the 3D printer and of course make your 3D models from there. So if you've got about $1,300 to spend on that, if you got $1,300 to waste, how about just sending me one of these Cube 3D printers and we'll have some fun with it. So anyway, check that out, of course, over at news.geekazine.com. All right, last article of today, and we are going over to geekytyrant.com. I love geeky movies. I watch a lot of them, but I don't know all of the geeky movies. That's what this person did, is they mapped out all the geeky movies, but they did it in a subway map version. So, like, for instance, it's hard to read, but I know Stand By Me's on there. We've got Star Trek. We've got The Dark Knight. We've got a lot of other movies. And you can basically turn it into a subway. And this would actually be a little fun little game here. You start on one, like, let's say we'll start on Stand By Me, and that's one terminal. You watch that movie, and then you go to the next one in the terminal, and you can, like, X them out as you go. So you have a little bit of a roadmap of what movies you want to watch or rewatch in a geeky movie. So pretty interesting stuff. If you want to check this out, go over to geektyrant.com. I knew I was going to say it wrong. geektyrant.com. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, that does it for this part. We're going to get you into the main subject. We're going to talk about internet sales tax, the how, the why, the what, and if you need to pay it right now. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that next. So we will be right back. The final number was 69 to 27 as Congress passed the online sales tax. This would be required for online stores to add sales tax to from your state into the sales price. It's now on to the House of Representatives, where it will be going through further debate and then, of course, a vote, which will then go and get approved and maybe come back. So it's not going to happen right away. Right now, you are actually required to pay sales tax on anything you buy. You just do it at the end of the year. So the real question is, do you do it? Did you even know that you had to do it? This could mean a lot for online sales stores. This could mean a lot for mom and pop organizations. Can this mean if you run an online store, you'll have to put in an algorithm and figure out what the customer is going to add for the stat tax, and then, of course, report that to the each state you sold items in? That could put a lot of pressure on a lot of smaller mom and pop internet sites, as I like to say. But big box stores like Amazon, it'll just be like, oh yeah, we'll do that and be done with it. This bill, of course, is in debate partly because of the Commerce Clause. Now, the Commerce Clause says, and we'll go up to Section 8 on this, the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises to pay the debts and provide the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States, which means if it's for one, it's for all. This tax will supersede whatever any state thinks. That's one of the problems with this law. With some states that don't even charge sales tax, they're very opposed to this bill. The real question, though, is if this will change how people will shop. If Amazon still has their 2-day shipping and great deals, even with sales tax, then I'll probably just make the purchase, pay the $80 a year, and make those purchases and get my items shipped to me. And then if I need to go to a box store to buy something, I'll go to a box store and buy something. I'm a pretty sporadic customer. So if I need something now, I'll go get it. If I can wait a couple days on it, I'll get it from Amazon. And I will support local companies. If they say, come and support us, and I find something I need to buy, I'll support them. And that's the bottom line, is if it's not there in the stores, I'd go to Amazon to get it. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's not done yet. You still have to pay your sales tax, so you should do that. But have you? That's the real question. So let me know. Have you paid your sales tax? Twitter me at Geekazine, geekazine@gmail.com. And, of course, the hotline is 608-205-4378. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, that does it for another episode of Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening over on iTunes, on Stitcher, and the many other areas that you can get this podcast from. We will be back next week with more news, more geek news, more stuff to get your geek brain going, and then we'll just smack it right out of there. Until then, you guys geek out and take care.